Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Astrologer Val Evans. Thanks for joining me today. We are talking about a very dangerous storm headed straight for the west coast of Florida. And thanks for joining me today, guys. I was joined by Amber yesterday. We had a good show regarding the hurricane and looking at the personality of storms. And so I'm going to share that with you today a little bit more. And hopefully you are getting better audio. Last show, I don't know what happened to my audio. So I thought I'd come back on again and do it the right way. So, let's see. Linda, you're here. Christy, nice to see you. Amber's in the room. Nice to see you, Amber. Thanks for joining. And Lala's here. Toy. Yes, I know. I hope everyone is safe. We are praying and just thinking about how everyone has to just completely be disrupted in their lives to just relocate for God knows how long. And it's happened for so many people with Helen just recently. So we're going to talk about that too. Natalie, nice to see you. And Natalie, I have a question for you. You had commented yesterday about the longshoremen, I think. And I was wondering where that was when you were talking to them. And they were saying that maybe they were low on supplies. I wondered if you could elaborate on that. I was interested. So KG's here, Lisa, Deb, Linda, and Shauna. Thank you. Yes, if you want to reach out to me on astrologywithval.as.me. Let me just put the banner up. I think this is it. There you go. astrologywithval.as.me to schedule a personal reading. And you can reach out and get a 12-month forecast. And that's what we're doing today. We're looking at forecasts and predictions, and we're going to look at past storms, past disasters, because we want to see the personality of these storms. All right, so I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. And back to the chat here. All right. So why did I put Naples? Well, it occurred to me after we got off of the show yesterday that we always talk about twins, and there's that Gemini clue that's in the Hurricane Milton chart, which I'm going to share with you. And so I thought, I'm always talking about how Gemini is Italian and represents Italians and all things Italian. People who talk with their hands, because Gemini is hands. So it represents a profile of something. So I thought, isn't it appropriate in a sense that it would try to, really inappropriate, but it would head towards Naples possibly. So, but it is focused on towns all up and down the Tampa Bay area, and starts at Tampa and, goes basically down to the southern areas. Now they're thinking that it might wobble a bit. Let's take a look at what it looks like now in Naples. And let me see if I can find it here. There's an earth cam here we can look at. And there it is. You see it. It looks foreboding. Is that the word? Hang on 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So there's Naples, but it probably looks a lot worse a little bit north of Naples. Now we're going to see twins. We're going to see twin storms. We're going to see twin tornadoes. This is what we are looking at and trying to figure out other clues so we can find out where the storm is going and other information. So, hey, Buckeye Clay fan. That's so interesting. Teresa, you're half Sicilian. Lala, you said, my brother left Disney last night, got home this morning. That's good. That's a good time to get out. Deb, you said my daughter's boyfriend's brother at Disney Resort right now and friends in Fort Lauderdale. I've heard of quite a few cases. In fact, some people I know, they just headed to Disney. So I think it's raining there, but at least it's a little ways out of the storm. So, hey, Christine, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So, what I want to do is start with some cards and really try to figure out what we're dealing with here. I haven't used these cards. They are the Black Moon astrology cards. I haven't used those in a while. So, I wanted to see what we're talking about as far as the storm. What they're reporting is that it will be a category 3 when it hits the coast, but it can change and it can wobble. So if you're just joining me, my name is Val Evans. I'm an astrologer, and I also pull cards when Amber's not here. And I'm looking at what is going to happen. We try to make predictions on this channel. So here is a card for basically, I want to pull a card for Naples. And oh, this is nice. This is nice. It looks, we want the sun. There we go. The sun. What an odd card to get for a storm. So maybe it's a fast moving storm. Maybe we'll see the sun faster than we think. And how about one more card? Air element. Communication, but really just basically wind, which is what Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius are. So we've got the sun and the wind, and these cards, they usually give us good clues. So we'll see how that turns out. And Amber, you'll have to tell me. Oh, interesting. That could confirm that Naples will be highlighted. Possibly. So let me turn to my presentation here. And I hope that none of you are in this area, these areas up and down the west coast of Florida. It looks like a beast. And what's also scary is when you've got to relocate and it seems as if, you're abandoning your things and you're worried that people are going to break into your house. So there's all of these thoughts, so much going on, a feeling of loss, not being in control. Not knowing what the next few days will be like. Will there be something when you come home? Where are you going to stay? Will you have enough money to stay away from your home for so long? These are some of the things that people are thinking about. And a lot of folks, especially a lot of seniors, they live in trailers, really nice communities by the sea. And they went north and they are just crossing their fingers and hoping they didn't lose their home. So this is from yesterday's presentation, just reminding you that Neptune is in the USA chart, is through Florida, and Saturn is going back and forth on Neptune there. I just wanted to share this chart. And this is baby Phoenix. He was born right as Helen was moving up to North Carolina. And so I thought it'd be interesting to see, just quickly look at his birth chart. Let me see if you guys can see that. Okay. Lala, you said you're a double Libra with an Aquarius moon, triple air. Thank you, Christine. And I'm trying to get back to doing it a little bit more often. And Cygnus rays, the sun has just emitted another massive X-class flare, which is expected to intensify the weather there. Oh my God. Thank you for that. That explains a lot. So we've been hearing a lot about flares. And I know, so cute. A little baby. And so here's the birth chart of this baby. And real quick, I'm not going to go through this whole birth chart, but sun is in Libra. So Libra baby, obviously. But let's look at what's happening now. This little kid could be a musician, something Libra, maybe a diplomat. And we want to look at where, what's going on in this kid's life at this moment. It's a snapshot of when he was born. And check out this. You can see that there is the hurricane right there. So Neptune opposing Libra. And it did, because his mother was unable to give birth in the hospital. So they had to, I think it was just an alternate location. And so that was just kind of like, just really delaying and making his birth difficult. Interesting that his name is Phoenix, which is Pluto. And so that would be part of his signature. There would be a Pluto trine to Libra, to his sun. So that would show his identity, and especially with the sextile to the ascendant. So it looks like this kid is going to have a powerful life, and there might be some highs, but also a few lows too, because of that opposition there with the hurricane. So one would have to look at the transits to see, how the months and years would be. But for the most part, this kid looks like he might even be in real estate, because you can see a house there. And Pluto, the Lord of Scorpio, represents real estate. So I thought that was kind of interesting with Neptune there. Okay, and also real quickly, this is the USA chart, and it is with all of the transit planets on the outside of the USA's birth chart. And notice how the moon is in Aquarius for the USA birth chart, and Saturn's been going back and forth over it. And so we have a Saturn moon period right now where it's that energy of let's just make everybody really miserable and sad, and let them understand loss. And so we're seeing that Saturn starting 30 degrees before the moon, and then moving 30 degrees after is that Sati Sati phase. Also, something that I see here is that you can see Uranus here. Now, the moon is homes, and you can see a square at the moment. This is the transit for today, and you can see how homes are disrupted. And so it's extremely, extremely hard, especially people who have planets in Aquarius and Neptune. Definitely some people who are living on the West Coast, that's for sure. So now this is the USA transit chart for next July. I wanted to show you this because this looks worse. Why? Because Saturn is conjunct Neptune, and it is in a nasty T-square with Neptune, Black Moon Lilith, and Mars. I've noticed Mars in a square with Neptune, or Mars sometimes is in Cancer in some of these storms, but this looks like the big one. And so anybody who's deciding to move out of Florida now, I think it's a good idea. And it's going to be like this for a little while longer until people can feel safe, I think, in Florida. So you can see that big T square. And what is a big T square? It is a challenge. It is a big, big, big conflict with Mars there in Gemini, which is the air, the wind. And so interesting that for the USA, natally Mars, which is fast, is in Gemini, and that would be wind, so fast winds, and as well as Libra too is also winds. Okay, let me just take a look at what you guys are saying here. Okay. Oh, that's right, Amber. Yes, your sun is Phoenix. You definitely will. It's so amazing looking at your birth chart and seeing what was going on at that moment, which is important to know because it's not what's going on now for you. So very important to look at your progress chart. And Christine, you said the hotel rates are off the charts in Dallas, Texas due to the hurricane. I did not know that. In Dallas, that's crazy. But I did hear that the airports are full. Okay, a proton storm. Amazing. So what we got from the Black Moon cards was really like a profile of this storm. It's a proton storm. Would you agree? Hey, Jody. And hey, Nadia, nice to see you. Yes. Okay. X-class flares are also associated with earthquakes as well. Okay. Now, let me get to the next one, wherever it is. Okay, where did it go? Hold on one second. All right, so this is Helene. And let me say a few words about Helene first. This hurricane was formed just in September, obviously, as you know, September 24th. And it was a tropical cyclone. And it caused fatalities across the Southeast. It's the 8th named storm, 5th hurricane and 2nd major hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Helene began forming on September 22nd as a broad low-pressure system in the western Caribbean Sea. So favorable conditions led to the cyclone's intensification, and it became a hurricane early on September 25th. It rapidly intensified and reached Category 4 intensity on the evening of September 26th. Late on September 26th, Helene made landfall at peak intensity in the Big Bend region of Florida, near the city of Perry, with maximum sustained winds. Helene weakened as it moved quickly inland before degenerating to a post-tropical cyclone over Tennessee on September 27th. The storm then stalled over the state before dissipating on September 29th. And anybody who has been in Western North Carolina knows how beautiful it is and how sad it is. What happened? They're still trying to rebuild there. And one thing that I always think of is the big mountain, really, that is in that part of the state where the hurricane basically was directed to, and people had trouble getting down. They had trouble escaping. So I wanted to look at that a little bit just before we look at the chart. And I'm just going to go to the news real quick, see what's happening there. Everybody wants to talk about Milton right now, but let's see. Yeah, there were a lot of deaths in North Carolina. A family of 4 was killed while trying to evacuate their Green Mountain home. So that's what I was trying to look for. It's Green Mountain. Also, really young people died trying to escape. People were driving through floodwaters. Their cars were floating. It was hard to get to safer area, safe ground. The flooding in the area was more devastating than they had anticipated, and they were reporting about this family, with the Tow River rising by 22 feet and water levels reaching just a few inches below the ceiling of their single-story home. And oh gosh, this is the couple. They were planning their wedding on November 9th. Oh, it's too much. I hope you can see that. Let me see. I lost my camera. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay, you can see them. Yeah. Hey, beach butterfly. Nice to see you. Michelle, good evening, Val, and fellow listeners from England. Thanks for staying up late for me. Lala, you said when the sun was releasing the flare, the asteroid is close near the sun. So this is what caused the proton storm, like not even an hour ago. Wow. Amber, right. So many beautiful towns just wiped out in North Carolina. It's terrible. And so there they are. So this is just a story of just one, I shouldn't say just, but one case, and just heartbreaking stories that have to do with this area in North Carolina. And it's right near the Biltmore Museum, and all of that village was basically devastated. So we're talking about higher ground. We're talking about a mountain there. And so this is Helene. And so this is what we're talking about for Helene. Notice that Venus is a female. So we're looking at the profile of the hurricane. And Libra is the hurricane because of the wind. Now, it could have easily been Gemini, but because we have a stellium in an air sign, we can call this the hurricane. Now, with Black Moon Lilith, it's kind of like the devil air. And with Venus and the moon together, this isn't so good when you put those two together and it says a famous woman. Well, this would be a famous hurricane because of the moon there. The moon means fame. So there are a couple of things that you could say. You look to the blue lines to see where the Helene would be going, where the hurricane would go. And here you can see a sextile to what is Leo. It's a mountain. So the hurricane, the storm, moves to the mountain. And Leo means mountain. And really, there could have been two. I'm not sure, but there could have been two or more, areas of higher ground where this storm went. And also I'm sure there are other Leo characteristics for Hurricane Helene. All right, so this is Naples. This is the Naples solar return chart. So we start in May, and with your solar return chart, when you pull it, you just look at the solar only. You click the solar tab, and you start on your birthday. So I believe the incorporation was May 20th or later in May. So we would go May, June, July, August, September, and the month of the hurricane would be right here. And it would probably be, because since we're getting into October, right around where Saturn is. And that would give a profile of the year, which would be sadness, sadness of families. And fifth house is a Leo house. It means families. And it not only means sadness and despair, but when you square it with the moon, this is death. So Saturn and moon usually means a death. That's how Amber and I got that Prince Harry and Prince William would be attending a funeral. They had this in their solar return chart. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay. Thank you, Lala. That is so sweet. Donna, your brother lives in Orlando. Oh, okay. So he didn't have to move out to Orlando or escape to Orlando. So that's good. Boone, yes. I know. Asheville. Asheville is gorgeous, and one of the places I was thinking I'd want to live. It must be make you so sad, Jody. And I remember I was in an Airbnb once in Asheville and leaving, it was quite a trek down, through a lot of trees. I mean, just in a big storm like that, definitely hard to escape. Okay. Thanks, guys. So now I'm going to look at this Naples solar return chart so you could see that there is going to be some hardship this month. And Uranus rules the month because we are in the fifth house. It is in Aquarius, and you can see a big, big grand trine. Now, this, we can't imagine that there's going to be any luck coming out of this. But there actually could be some rescues that we're going to be seeing, some ways that they can turn around this potential tragedy. Uranus rules Aquarius, so it's the air itself. And notice how all of these planets, which would mean a stellium, super, super, super strong, would be in the Algol area. So this is actually a lot of Jewish people. And they, this is interesting. possible that they are able to find an alternative place to go during the hurricane. Let's see. We have a lot of Jupiter and Venus. These are young ladies. These are maybe girls that are maybe 12 to 15. And somehow, possibly, uh, they possibly might be able to help with something. But at the same time, I think we're going to be seeing some stories about a group of girls. Now, Venus, the symbol of a woman, is usually 18 and older. If you see Jupiter by itself, it's usually somebody who's an adolescent. So if you see Venus and Jupiter together, that is probably a female, maybe, like I said, somewhere in the adolescent stage. So it seems as if you know, potentially we're going to at least see some kind of article about them. I don't know what they're doing, but they're able to. This has something to do with homes. Could be a Mercury. I wonder what that is. I think this could be social media or being on television. So the Gemini would be, as soon as you see Gemini, you know there's going to be something on television. So these people are taking control of something in their town, maybe. So I thought that was pretty interesting about Naples, but we for sure will see some sad news here with Naples and other towns on the West Coast. This is let's see, what is this? Okay, this is the transit chart for Naples. And you can see that Saturn is at the top, and you can see a red line, which is an opposition, down to the moon. So again, we have Saturn moon, and it's right in the fourth house of home. So this means kind of, lights are out. It means darkness. So Saturn has to go back and forth. And when Saturn goes over Uranus, or Uranus conjuncts Saturn, one of the two, it's a break of what you're used to, your stability, your foundation. And, it's basically like broken concrete in a sense. So that could be another profile here. So we want Saturn to keep moving on past Uranus for Naples, but would show what's happening, what the energy is there for Naples. And this chart again is for the May incorporation date for Naples. Let's see. That's the main thing I saw there. Now I want to talk about the Galveston hurricane, which I thought was super interesting. Looking at these stories about hurricanes, you don't really think about it as a personality. I mean, I don't. But one of the things that I saw that were common were that some would go through the United States and at the very least come from foreign lands, or would go to foreign lands, go up to Canada or wherever. So that's going to be in the chart, which is what I saw here with Galveston. But I'm going to go back here and just read a couple of things for you about Galveston, wherever I put it. Here we go. Now, it's the 1900 Galveston hurricane. This is called the Great Storm. So that's the name of the storm. So great would be Jupiter. It would be Sagittarius. So it's known as the Great Galveston Hurricane and the Galveston Flood. And it was in 1900. It's the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history so far, the strongest storm of the 1900 Atlantic hurricane season. It left between 6,000 and 12,000 fatalities in the U.S. The number most cited in official reports is 8,000. Most of these deaths occurred in and near Galveston after the storm surge inundated the coastline and the island city with 8 to 12 feet of water. You can go down to Galveston right now, and some of the hotels, some of the older hotels, they have marks of where the water line was, and it's just astounding. So as of 2024, it remains the fourth deadliest Atlantic hurricane on record behind Hurricane Fifi of 1974. Okay, so here is the chart, and feel free if if you see anything, definitely put it in the chat. And thank you, Barbara. Oh, Angel D is here. Good to see you, Angel. Yeah, this is, thanks, Jody. We don't like when planets are stationing, especially large planets or symbols of large, which is Jupiter. This is a tremor in the energy for sure. Yeah, okay. Now, let me go to this chart for a sec. 18 degrees. Evil. And so we go to Mars, which is right here. How about that? Mars is in Cancer, like Mars is in Cancer right now. And so this is the chart ruler. And this is the chart for when the hurricane made landfall. Now, you can see the stellium here of Sagittarius. And one of the big things you can see too is that Saturn, which is death, it opposes Neptune at 29 degrees. Neptune at 29, or the late degrees of any sign, but especially Pisces, which is what it's in now, can cause a lot of trouble with the water. And so this would be a lot of tragedy, a lot of black water again. And what was interesting about this particular hurricane is that the first person who saw this forming in the Gulf was actually a ship captain, which is what Sagittarius is. It's ships and shipping. And at the time, Galveston was a very busy place. It was known at the time as the Wall Street of the South. So a lot of people were down there. Really, really big, popular place. And nobody really had any thought that there was going to be a big storm ahead. But a ship captain kind of put out the word. And the other thing too was there was I believe it was a priest that said something in the papers and came out and started talking about the potential of this storm. So the Sagittarius also represents religion, so, and priests. So also Neptune does as well. But anyway, so we're seeing this, and of course that would be the name. It would be great. And Mars in Cancer here. We can see that we've got an air sign here, 3 points in an air sign. And often when we see Pluto with another planet like Neptune, that is, this in and of itself is the ocean. And so together you're seeing the ocean and it's churning. Mars is when you've got a square with the ascendant of the storm itself. This is, just abusive. It's an abusive storm. It doesn't take any prisoners. And other thing too is you can't help but look at the T-square here, which is a red triangle. We always look at the red triangle. And so this would show in the 6th house, this would be a lot of people who are working down there. And also there was a lot of journalists who were writing about this storm. There were journalists that were trying to forecast this storm, and they didn't do a very good job. So you could see what is the sign or symbol for a forecaster would be Uranus, and you would see that it squares people who are writing about the storm. They, up until months before, had said, we will never see a big hurricane here, so don't worry about it. And they were wrong. So that's kind of part of this profile, I guess you could say. Moon was in Pisces, and it's usually exalted there, but it is part of a big grand square, which is this box with an X through it. So much there that isn't going very well, but this is really the biggest thing we have. Again, we've got Black Moon Lilith in Libra, which is what we have right now. This is evil air, and it's free to do what it wants. And how do you see that? The nodes. You can see that when you have, and this is for yourself too, in your personal chart, when you have the south node and the north node, this is a flow of air. It just, and it gains. If there's a square to the nodes, this usually means you're stuck, but this is a flow. And here's more air signs. So we've got air and water here. And also, this is the evil storm, and it is sextiling Jupiter. So really you can put it all together, and it's the great hurricane. So it's hard to see in this chart. It's not that easy, but it certainly looks like there's definitely a lot of air flowing through. And I think the biggest sign that's kind of like a profile of what we're seeing right now is that Black Moon Lilith in Libra. It just doesn't care. It doesn't care, if it were to have an actual personality, what is happening. And to me, it's almost like evil air is almost like putting out whatever it takes to destruct or to destroy. So that would be, cyclones and tornadoes and floods and whatever it takes. Now, what's kind of unnerving is that we have a lot more of a stellium here than this with this upcoming storm with Milton. And then we have Mercury in there too, which means, it can mean that it doubles in size, which is what they are saying. So we should go to maybe a report. And let me see. It's 5:45 Central. Milton, let's see what they're saying right now. Okay. Okay, so as of 4 p.m., I think that might be Eastern, Milton approaching the coast of west central Florida, life-threatening storm surge, damaging winds. Okay, nothing we don't already know. According to the 5 p.m. advisory, Milton is currently 60 miles west-northwest of Sarasota with winds of 120 miles per hour. The storm is moving north-northeast at 17 miles per hour. The next advisory comes out at 8. Let's see. So 120 miles per hour. This is in line with most model data that predicted the storm would slightly weaken from wind shear during its approach. However, Milton is expected to be a dangerous major hurricane when it reaches the west central coast of Florida. And so, we've got a whole bunch of counties here that have hurricane warnings. Okay. Now, we looked at this chart yesterday. It's the U.S. solar return chart. And this is something that I wanted to talk a little bit more about. We are in this month. We would look at this. Oops. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure you can see it okay. And I'll make it a little bit bigger here. Amber, you shouldn't have done that. That is so sweet. What a partner you are. You just wait till you have a live stream. Thank you so much. That is so nice of you. Okay. Hi, Val. Just tuned in. My daughter-in-law mother lives in Florida. I just talked to her. Everything's locked down. Flights are expensive out of Florida right now. And all I could do is pray. I'm so sorry, Yolanda. I have some family and friends in Florida, and it is just so frustrating where a lot of people are stuck right now. And my prayers for you and your family. So, Jody, you say you're talking about North Carolina. Thank you, Barbara. That is so sweet. Yes, we're all praying for Florida. Yep, Lala, we were talking about the Great Hurricane. It did look like a kite, didn't it? And just shows a lot of flow of energy. Sometimes it's not good energy, like the Black Moon Lilith. So, a suitcase. Okay. Thank you, Eleanor. Nice to see you. Thank you, Amber. Okay, so let's look at a card before we go into this. And hopefully my mic didn't go out. I'm going to check it. Let me check my mic. Okay, still on. And we're going to find out, can you give us some kind of indicator about what is after Milton? And we shouldn't even be talking about it because right now Milton is just taking up all of our thoughts and prayers, but it's just, I wonder about what's happening afterwards. So let me just pull one card. It's the Star reversed. So, so as far as what is coming up, I don't know, that might be a profile of the next storm. And now I'm going to go to, I just wanted to point out that Neptune, we're not even on Neptune yet, but there's something that is kind of stopping this water, but it almost shows that water can't flow. It almost shows that water overflows. And it almost seems like something fraudulent. And it wouldn't be surprising if this happens after these storms. So we'll have to keep an eye on what this is, but you can see here that Neptune right here is squaring the moon. This is the 8th house of real estate, and then Black Moon Lilith. This is something very, very evil and fraudulent. Now, this is exactly on, so this would be July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, this is around the elections. And not to get political, but I did have a conversation with one of my partners yesterday about just curiosity. Could this affect the election? So why can't I just ask it and we not get into a political discussion? But I do want to know. I want to know what the cards are going to tell me about if this is going to affect people voting. I know it's on people's minds, so I'm just going to say it. I know I'm going to probably, oh God, I am probably going to get it for this, but let's see here. Okay. All right, we ready? Can you give us some kind of indicator about the situation in Florida and could it affect the U.S. election? This is a major thing. Judgment. So I'd say yes. Maybe there's some kind of karma coming. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think, Amber? I'm going to do a clarifying card. About being affected, this basically this hurricane. Is it affecting the U.S. election? Will it affect in November? Can you give us a clarifying card? Oh, Queen of Swords reversed. So it looks like, people may not be thinking about voting in Florida. I mean, that's just easy to figure out. All right, so this was the USA solar chart. I was just looking at that T-square there. And By the way, I'm having a contest. If you are interested in getting a free reading, you can go to my Instagram, and it's Val Evans Astro. So just add me, and I'm going to pick the winner on Friday morning, and then we'll announce it on our show on Friday afternoon. Okay, so just to reiterate, this is the T-square I'm talking about, and the moon is in the last degree of Gemini, so another air sign, and very well could be maybe one more storm. I don't know. Now, the Galveston solar return, I want to go back to the Great Storm, and this would be, I mean, what a chart for a solar return, huh? You know something's going to happen this year. And so what you would do is you would go to the 1899 chart, because the birth chart starts December 8th. So this would be December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, then September. So Aries rules. So you would have to wait all the way to September in order to get down to this group right here, which is very interesting. I wonder if something else was happening in April. But this shows a lot of despair, a lot of death, and again in that fifth house of families. So, you know, at the very least, 8,000 people died, and this is not only opposing Neptune, which is water, plus Pluto. Again, that's ocean. That's vast, vast amounts of water in an air sign, and opposing the fifth house, and that's families. It's also government. The 10th house is the government house. So they're pretty much tapped out here with the Mars and Saturn. This is the poverty of the government, almost the death of the government in a sense, but not really, because there is a saving grace. And not it is a tragic event, but the government is able to help in some way. You can see that point of Thales there. And so that's when it would all happen, would be in September. So amazing how we're starting to see little hints of a profile of a hurricane. And again, too, you see that Sagittarius, which means expansive. So, and it's like a big fight with, a natural disaster. So Jupiter would rule the part of the month that all of this is in, because it's Sagittarius. And you can see there's a square here. So the surroundings, just basically the surroundings are not favorable because of that square there with Black Moon Lilith. Always got that Black Moon Lilith somewhere. All right, so Katrina, just as a reminder, with Leo here, and we talked a little bit with Amber yesterday about that, but how interesting that the 12th house gives us clues about, what is going to be potentially lost. And so here it would not only be the name of the storm, but it would also be the French Quarter. And you can see there's a T-square here. The way that I see T-squares in these charts for tropical storms and hurricanes it's like metal. So you're seeing a lot of metal where it shouldn't be. And with Neptune, floating metal. Ugh, it's not something I want to think about. But yeah, there is the hurricane itself, that Libra stellium. And again, you've got Venus in Libra, which would mean the name, just like Helene, it would have Venus would be in Libra, showing the name or the type of name. And then also, I didn't mention this yesterday, but 18 degrees here is the evil degree. So it's like the evil woman of air in a sense. I'm sure there's a better way to put that, but that kind of, it makes me think that when I see this stellium here. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, so the French Quarter was lost. So this is Milton, and so we're back here, and I wanted to get to this chart and talk a little bit about some clues that I think it might be showing us. And we talked about what would be lost in this hurricane, which would be something that has to do with, obviously, Uranus is electricity. Gemini is something that would be two names, two twin cities, something twin, small things, roads that have the same name, or something Italian like Naples. And so you can see that there. You can also see that the profile for this chart, we've got the hurricane here. We've got a man name or a male name. So the sun is in here. Interesting how we got the sun too in those cards, but Mercury right next to it. So this is going to be a group of storms from what I'm seeing here. And then Black Moon Lilith showing that evil air again. And so here's what I am wondering. We've got where the storm is going to go. So it's going here, wherever this is. Jupiter represents, could be a large area, Jupiter large. Sometimes Jupiter can represent a church or twin churches or two churches that look alike. I mean, there's a whole list of things that you could probably come up with Jupiter and Mercury, Gemini. But then what happens? It's in this place, let's say it's Naples or maybe Tampa and St. Petersburg, and then it goes here. Where is this? And that is Chiron in Aries. So I'm thinking it's going to be some kind of military base. It's going somewhere. And it seems like it's probably going to go another place in Florida. I don't see this as like with the other chart. We could see how basically the hurricane went into Canada. And I think that was the Great Hurricane of 1900. And it started in South America. So that was an international hurricane, which would be Sagittarius. But in this case, I think that it's just more domestic and it's headed towards something that is Aries, some profile of Aries. So I wondered what you thought about that. SpaceX. Yes. Okay, that would be Uranus in the 12th. So SpaceX is going to have potentially some problems. Thank you, Ellie. Oh, good one. Jupiter, Florida. But it's on the East Coast, just across from Naples. And it's almost like it's twin because it's on the other side. I think you're onto something. Kelly, nice to see you. So glad to find your channel. Incredible insight. Have you drawn any tarot to ask if storms and hurricanes are man-made? I have not. Only because I want to try to just look at the astrology and keep it simple. And let's see, Christine, the skull was seen in this hurricane coming up Milton. Oh, really? And Cygnus, you said, really hope it's not La Palma tsunami, represented by the phoenix, their native palm, Phoenix canariensis. Okay. Interesting. Cape Coral. Okay. I really like that answer about SpaceX. Not that I, want that to be the case, but it certainly fits there. I mean, it's all a big puzzle. Let's consult the cards about where Milton is going to be headed after it hits the West Coast. Where does it go? What is this Aries? Can you give us a clue about Chiron and Aries? Okay. 10 of Cups. That would seem like Disney World to me, wouldn't it? Someplace where families go. Someplace that is very happy, family friendly. Oh my gosh, Rachel. Well, you're saying that everything's going to sink into the ocean. Well, you got to read some of the articles, and it does look at the very least like the shoreline is going to change forever. So that's a possibility here, that there are going to be some big changes. Yeah, Orlando is filled with lots of amusements besides Walt Disney. Okay, your moon in Pisces. Yeah, so, and it almost seems like, looking at the chart, it looks like it's going north. Let me see. I'm going to get a clarifier card. Where will it hit after the West Coast? 8 of Wands reversed. So, think about that. And then, it looks as if it's going to hit with category 3. So hopefully it doesn't intensify. They were saying 5 at first. Yeah, there are a lot of people in Walt Disney right now. So that is, it's pretty busy. I'm sure all of the prices are much higher there right now. Yes, and we saw some tornadoes too. Linda, you sent me a photo of one it was in South Florida. Pretty big. Okay, Kelly, Disney World's closed. Well, they might need to use it to help those refugees. All right, and let's see what else I have. So there's the profile. There's the 2. So we're going to see something Mercury related. And also, too, we are going to see, it's weird because with Helen, obviously Mars was in Cancer, and this was a famous man. And I think this was somebody that was trying to help here and give money, which was Venus. That could be Donald Trump, and wanted to join this group of artists. So this is kind of like a prediction for Milton. There's going to be somebody who wants to donate money, but will not be able to. So famous man, not sure who it is, but it looks like that person's being rejected. Could be politically based. But here is, where's Helene? This is Helene. This is a famous man, and he is able to help with that moon right there. So famous man who helped Helene. And then, of course, Dolly Parton's in here. So you're going to see musicians coming out, like we said yesterday. So I think that that soul return is just wild for 1899 Galveston, and always seeing like 8, 13s, those types of numbers. And really, you could pick all of this apart and really see a storyline here of who these people are. I'm not exactly sure, but because Galveston was in a big shipping area, that would be Sagittarius. So there were quite, Mercury and Sagittarius. These are boats, and then of course you had obviously the groups of people, and Mercury retrograde in conjunct Uranus are groups of people who are just in absolute shock of what is happening with this hurricane. So it is something we're going to have to keep an eye on. And oh, you didn't? Okay, not Walt Disney Park. People fled to the resorts. Inland is usually safer. I saw that, Lisa James. Tom Cruise and his org was mentioned in the news. He has a penthouse in Clearwater. This could be a man who wants to join some of the musicians who are trying to help out. Vicky, I have not. Have you ever thought about offering your knowledge to U.S. Weather Service for a fee to prepare and help save lives? I know you would be their best tool. That is so sweet. Well, I think we need a few more case studies before astrologers move over to the Weather Service. But there's got to be a time, I think, soon and in the future where the meteorologists are going to have to start talking about the energy of, at the very least, the eclipse, which is what we're seeing right now. Oh, you got booted. Okay. I got booted, but that Eight of Wands reversed is Aries and could be a place that is known for communication. Okay. Place that is known for communication. All right. So let's look at the map. Let me pull it up. Panhandle, Florida. And so if you're just joining, we're looking at astrology just to understand the profile of Hurricane Milton. And we can see in some of these charts that the path, really, where the hurricane is headed, where the easiest route is for the hurricane. So we know it's going in a Gemini type of direction, or a place towards where things represent Gemini, but then it's going to some place that represents Aries. And so the path right now is, right up here. And then, I bet you're right, Amber. I bet you it could be Jupiter. Wouldn't that be wild? Because that's what it says in the chart, Jupiter. Let's look a little bit more and see if there's anything that's like Jupiter Beach. I want to see more Aries related things. Amber, so funny. Okay, yeah. So Jupiter could be it, and got a lot of Taurus here. There's the airport, so that would be Uranus in the 12th house. But also there are going to be other airports too that are going. We're going to definitely hear about airports with that Uranus in the 12th house, and probably going to make some headlines there. Limestone Creek. I almost wanted to see like some kind of a base or something. Yeah, so these folks over here, I hope they are preparing. I hope they're getting out of there. Jupiter Island, what a beautiful place. Hoping that they do not have to deal with this wrath of this. It's an absolute beast. So we'll have to wait and see. So thank you so much for joining me today. It was a short show, but we got some cards and charts in and maybe a few more clues. So we'll have to see how this plays out. And if you haven't already joined us, definitely put Friday on your calendar. Amber and I will be back and we'll be flipping some cards, looking at some charts with the royal family, for the royal family, and looking at charts for the UK as well. Lala, you said it wasn't even a week ago they had a drone over Mar-a-Lago they took down. Yeah. I think it's definitely going to be part of the headlines. Not trying to be, political, but we do look at the headlines. We want to know what's coming up. Thank you, Lala. That's a lot of charts. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to see you on Friday. I might be back again tomorrow. So we'll see if I can pull some more charts if they're interesting, if you haven't already seen them. And praying for all of those who are affected by any number of hurricanes that have gone through Florida or are about to. We are sending our love and light, and hopefully everyone evacuated. Whoever's watching this, we hope you've evacuated by now. So thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.